Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Diaries of a 20-something. I'm Paige Marquez, your host, and today we're going to be talking about all things long-distance friendships and relationships, mainly friendships. I feel like long-distance relationships are something that we all go through at some point, and there are many common challenges like maintaining closeness and communication and just everything like that. So stay tuned. When you're transitioning your friendship from, I guess, a close distance relationship to a long distance relationship, it can take a really big toll on the relationship itself. I've seen long distance relationships be stronger than close distance relationships, and I've seen long distance relationships completely fall apart because of the distance. And I think when it comes to how different those outcomes are, it really comes down to how the long distance was handled. I have been in a long distance relationship before and it was fine. I tend to do well with long distance because when I'm dating somebody, I don't want to spend that much time with them. I like to spend like maybe 1 or 2 days a week. Any more than that, and I get a little bit bored and a little bit annoyed. But then it's like different with friends, especially when you're used to hanging out with your best friend multiple times a week and then you move, which is exactly what happened to me. Long distance can cause a lot of stress on a relationship, and there's also fears that go along with it, like fear of like drifting apart from your friends or like losing the connection completely. And I feel like that's a very valid fear because it does happen, I feel like, more times than not. Life transitions can form a physical separation, and this could be like moving for work or school. If you've been watching or if you know me well, you know that I just moved states for work. And it was kind of interesting because when I was in Florida, my mom lives up here, so I would come here all the time. But when I was in Florida, it's like my long distance friends were here. And now that I live here, those long distance friends have become normal friendships. And all of my close friends at home have turned into long distance friends. I think maintaining long distance friends can be difficult. Also, like backpacking off of that in college, my friends at home were my long distance friends. And then when I left college, my college friends became long distance friends. But the one thing I will say about my college relationships, and I'm not going to get too heavily into this, there are only a couple people in college that I was friends with that I actually see being lifelong friends. And I know that that might be a unique experience. I feel like many people leave college with like a really great friend group and many like diehard friends. And yes, I do have diehard friends. None of them, they all move to different places. However, I don't talk to them as much as I wish I did. And it's not anything personal. It's just life gets in the way and you're busy. Like for me, when I'm friends with somebody, I'm not a person that feels the need to be talking 24/7. And I think that that's a really different from how a lot of other people feel nowadays. Nowadays, you have people that are so attached to texting and being in conversation, being in connection 24/7. And I am just not one of those people. Like I could go days without talking to my friends. When you go to close friends to long distance friends, it's almost like the environment you're in is so different. And that almost makes it in a way where you just don't really have much to talk about anymore. Like you don't really have much to relate to. I think that is when it can start drifting, especially, when you move and like you start hanging out with other people more and, someone kind of takes your place. And I think it's really hard to not let that happen. But I feel like there's like unique challenges when it comes to long distance friends. And I feel like the biggest one I see or hear about the most is scheduling conflicts, especially when it's like now where I'm working, my friends are working, even like my friends here that work all the time, I still probably don't see them more than 1, max 2 days a week because it's just, we're busy with other things and it's not anything personal. It's just the way life is. Like when you get older and when all of your friends are working, it's just hard to make plans all the time. But, you know, I just moved, so I haven't had anybody visit me yet or visited home. The main reason why no one has visited me yet is because I don't have a place yet, but hopefully that will change today. I'm going apartment shopping tonight. So cross our fingers. But anyway, like I do see scheduling conflicts becoming a factor or an issue just because even my friends that live here, like we don't even see each other super often. It's normal. It's just hard to not take it personal. This is the reality of the situation. I think proximity plays a way bigger role into our relationships than we anticipate. I feel like it's not everything, but it is a big thing. Like going back to what I said a little bit ago, when you are in two different environments, it can just be hard to relate. And like you just find yourself not reaching out as much as you originally planned. It's just like the difficulty of sharing everyday moments with each other like you would have if you were, I don't know, living 5 miles away from each other. Another common thing that I hear about is people getting jealous when one other person starts making closer friends with other people or whatever, like feeling replaced, I guess. I don't really struggle with this. I mean, the thing with me and Elizabeth is like, she's my sister at the end of the day. Like, I'm not threatened or jealous of any friends that she's become closer with now that I left. Like, I understand. I've gotten closer with other people as well when I moved here, but like nobody will ever replace her and nobody will ever replace me. I'm very confident in that. I feel like being secure within your relationship is necessary for long distance to work. I think if you are insecure in your relationship in any way, especially when it comes to third parties, long distance is not going to be easy and it's not going to be fun. And it's just going to be an endless cycle of being upset and being jealous and blaming and all of that. But I will admit, like, it can be hard to like see your friend not like move on, but like, I guess, yeah, like carry on with their life as if you never left. I mean that in the least toxic way possible. I'm not trying to sound like a toxic girlfriend or something. I just feel that I just feel like there's such a big aspect when it comes to missing out on other people's lives and then having other people not miss out on them. That is when jealousy can really come in. Like I said, you really just need to be secure in your relationship. Otherwise, long distance would never work. I'm convinced. I feel like the most important thing when long distance is happening is just being able to like prioritize conversation and prioritize the connection you have and like making sure it stays the same. There's so many ways to keep in touch nowadays. Like, we have so much technology, whether it's like social media, phone calls, FaceTimes, texting, whatever. There's so many forms of communication. And like, I don't call Elizabeth every day. I don't text her every day, but I do send her Instagram reels every day, at least every other day. I mean, every week is different. It really depends on how much I'm working, but I would say we do one FaceTime call a week at least. Sometimes we will do it 2 or 3 times in one day and then not talk for a week. It's just like you find time and you commit to the time. I think like these regular check-ins and just like prioritizing communication can be hard to do because you're not thinking about it on the top of your head. And it's like, I'd much rather have a really crazy, juicy FaceTime call with Elizabeth like once or twice a week than text her like little by little every day, like, hey, how are you? But like, we do that, you know, like I'll randomly get a text from Elizabeth and she'll be like, I love you. And I'll be like, I love you. But it has been hard for me to prioritize and just like remember to text her. And it's not anything like malicious or like mean. Like I'm like forgetting about her. It's just like, I'm so busy. You just really don't realize how much of your relationship is face to face until you can't be face to face anymore. We used to hang out, I'd say like at least 3 days a week, like minimum. But when you don't have that in-person, face-to-face vibe anymore, it's like you really just realize how much of your relationship was face-to-face because you don't have it anymore. You don't know what you have until it's gone. It can be hard to adjust to, for sure. But it's also like planning visits. You know what I mean? Like me and Elizabeth have like a tentative planned visit once I get my apartment. And we don't have like a specific date in mind, but I think we are aiming for mid to end of September. So I would say like outside of the lack of apartment, I would say the biggest scheduling issue is work because Elizabeth just started working. I just started working. You know, you don't want to be calling off. So you just kind of have to wait around until you guys both have a light week or a light weekend and then just run with it. But I have been brainstorming like creative ways to stay close with somebody when there's so much distance. Like me and Elizabeth are over 1,000 miles away. I feel like sending cute little care packages would be super cute. They're like an edible arrangement, like or like virtual hangouts, like playing games. Like I've been wanting to get back into Words with Friends. I used to play a lot with my mom, maybe like 7 years ago. Add another layer to the communication that you already have, which is by phone. I feel like with long distance, conflict is a big part of it, and I feel like all the conflict is really stress related. When it comes to conflict, communication is key, and that is another thing. Like if you are doing long distance with somebody who doesn't communicate well, there are going to be issues, and I don't know if they will actually be able to be fixed. I feel like the most common thing is like feeling neglect or something, like feeling like you're not being prioritized or whatever the case may be. But I think that's why it's so important to prioritize communication or like start something new. You know, like me and Elizabeth had a weekly tradition in Jupiter, like Taco Tuesday every Tuesday at this one place. But like we can't do that anymore. So like let's try and do something new. You know what I mean? I haven't thought of anything yet, but I will. If you're stressed about something within your relationship, say it. Don't let it bundle up, because it's not going to be beneficial in the long run. It's just going to end up hitting everybody 10 times harder. And if the person you're communicating it to doesn't take it seriously or dismisses it or whatever the case may be, that is an issue that does not come from long distance. That's an issue that comes from within them. And maybe you just realized it now, but I'm telling you, like, that's why I say, like, when it comes to conflict resolution, I think conflict can make a lot of friendships stronger, but I think it can also destroy them. It just depends on how well you guys communicate and honestly, like how much you respect each other. Just explain how you feel and how you could feel better. Like some people aren't good communicators, and I think that is what it comes down to when it comes to how well a friendship can be mended or fixed after a conflict or an argument. But also when it comes to long distance, I do want to touch on independence, because I have never felt more independent than I do right now in my life. This obviously has to do with many factors, but I think the main factor is because I don't really have like a best friend here. So I kind of have to like be my own best friend. In that sense, I've become really independent and really in the kind of mindset where like I don't need anybody. But like the other factors is just like working, especially like commuting to work. It's such a hassle every single time, and I'm over it. It was fun for like the first week, but now it's just not fun at all. I think like this part of my life is teaching me a lot about independence, and not only like, yes, you are the only one that has you at the end of the day, but at the same time, like it's okay to have other people in your life, and it's important to not get too comfortable being too independent. You just have to have a good balance between being independent and your friendships. Like you can be independent and still not be alone all the time. I feel like people equate the two terms, like being alone and being independent. No, you can be independent and still not be alone. It's all about the mental aspect of independence, not the physical. But you know, like I touched on a little bit ago, conflict and challenges can make a relationship much stronger. Like if you are in the friendship where you can go and talk about something that's bothering you and it does get solved, that is when your relationship is going to get stronger every single time. But it's also working on deepening that friendship without letting external factors get in your view. Elizabeth has been getting closer to other friends at home. Like, could I sit here and be bothered about it? Yeah, but I'm not, because I know us and I know how she feels about me at the end of the day. And I know that that is not going to change. It's just being secure and being able to communicate those things. The main thing that I've been having issues with is maintaining my long distance friends while adding new ones. I have a lot of friends, but when it comes to like real people in my life, like people I actually hang out with and stuff, I'd say I probably could count them on one hand. It used to not be like that, but as I got older, it's just so much easier. Maintaining those friends with the friends at home is a tricky thing. Like you can make new friends, but you can't forget about your core people. And some new friends that you make may become core people, but you can't let it replace other ones. You know what I mean? And it's almost better because then when your friends visit you or you visit your friends, you guys have more people to hang out with and you can better integrate them into your life. You know, like if Elizabeth was visiting me and I was telling her how I had all these friends up here, whatever, and then didn't introduce her to any, like that would feel wrong. You know, like you want to be able to combine your friends. Like I know some people are always so scared of doing that, but like there shouldn't be an issue. Like if there is an issue, the issue normally lies within one person when it comes to stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, long distance friendships, I feel like are never easy, especially when they started off as non-long distance friendships. But it's just important to like be aware of the challenges and the common issues and how to go about them when they happen, because you don't want to be in a situation where stress or jealousy or whatever the case may be like comes in the way of your friendship and destroys it. So if you're watching this and you have a long distance friend, reach out to them, just say hello. Ask them how their day's going or call them tonight. Maybe have like a little virtual wine night. Like, it's just important to keep investing into your relationships. And it might be tricky, yes, but it's not impossible. And you should want to prioritize that. If you have any good long distance friendship stories or any advice for anybody watching, comment them below. Like, share, and subscribe. And this was Diaries of a 20-something episode. Are we on 13 now? Lucky number 13. Next week, I am going to do an episode on a little mental health checkpoint. Mercury retrograde just ended and I was very affected this month. So I just feel like I kind of want to do an episode and just like ground myself and maybe ground you as well. So stay tuned for next week and I will see you guys next Friday.